Hi there, it's Olivia Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to give you a book haul. We are going to be talking about the books that I got in January and February. At the end of January was my birthday, so quite a few of these are birthday books. Let's get right into the books. So I thought I would start with birthday gifts just because that's really nice and fun, and the first one I have to show you is Symmetry Boys by Aiden Thomas, and this was a gift from the lovely Lena from Lena Reads. Lena is just such a great friend. She's always understanding and she has a lovely channel, and Symmetry Boys is one I'm very excited to read because I have not seen a negative thing about it anywhere. It's by a trans author, and I believe the main character is trans as well, and when his family are not accepting his identity, he decides to summon a ghost, but now that he's summoned the ghost, he cannot get rid of him. And I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. I can't wait to see about all the hype and just fall in love with it too. Next book is a middle grade fantasy series that just sounds like it's going to be so fun, and that is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. And this one was a gift from Mary Among Stories. I've talked about Mary before. She is just such a calming and soothing and encouraging presence in the booktube community, and her vlogs are honestly some of my favourite vlogs on booktube, so you should definitely check her out. And A Pinch of Magic is a series that I've heard Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin really raving about, and I really want to read it and find out what it's all about for myself. On the back here, I'll just read it very quickly. It says, 3 sisters trapped by an ancient curse, 3 magical objects with the power to change their fate, and will it be enough to break the curse, or will they lead the sisters into even deeper danger? Sounds exciting and interesting to me. Then we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which has definitely been making its rounds on booktube, and this was gifted to me from Abby by Abby of Pelennor, and Abby and I are really good friends. At the moment in 2021 we are talking every single day because we are buddy reading War and Peace throughout the year, and it's just been so lovely to buddy read with her and get to know her more, and thank you Abby for this lovely gift. I read Passing last year and it was one of my favourite reads of last year, and The Vanishing Half is inspired by Passing. It's about these 2 sisters who go their separate ways for whatever reason. I think one of them might go missing and one of them can pass as white and the other one can't, and it's all about that, and it sounds like it's historical fiction and intriguing and dealing with like a family saga kind of thing. I am excited, needless to say. I even wrote about this in my assignment where I broke down Passing, and I wrote about it without having read it because the assignment was allowing you to do that, and now I can read it for myself. Then a gift from the lovely Serena from A Wandering Mind. I've watched Serena's channel for years now. I've been friends with her for a very long time, and she is just lovely. She's always been lovely, and she talks about films and books, so if you're interested in both of those, definitely check out her channel. And she sent me Us Against You by Fredrik Backman, which is the sequel to Beartown by Fredrik Backman, which was one of my top favourite reads of last year, so I literally squealed so much when this turned up on my doorstep. I haven't read the synopsis. I don't want to know anything about the sequel going in, but if you haven't read Beartown and the content warnings are something you can deal with, read Beartown. You have no excuse. Read it. Then we have a present from my younger sister, which is Burn by Patrick Ness. I especially wanted this cover because it looks fantastic. It's gorgeous. There's fire, there's a dragon. I love it. I know absolutely nothing about this book, but I'm excited. In my eyes, Patrick Ness can do no wrong. One of my favourite series is the Chaos Walking series. I loved A Monster's Called. I did enjoy The Rest of Us Just Live Here. I'm here to read every Patrick Ness book. I don't need to check the synopsis. It's going to be fantastic. Another one that I was given by my sister is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, and I really love Octavia E. Butler, what I've read of hers, and I think my sister wanted to get me a surprise book, so she didn't tell me she was getting me a book or ask me, have you read this book? So I don't think she knows I've already read this book, but I read this in January right after reading Kindred, and I also borrowed Kindred from the same person, so I don't actually own a physical copy of Parable of the Sower, and it was on my list of books to buy. So now I have my own copy. It's kind of set in a dystopian world, and there's a girl who decides that she wants something different from what her community can give her, so she decides to take a travel trip to go somewhere else and to start afresh. But, or maybe she doesn't choose to, maybe she's forced to. I think she's forced to, and that's where the story goes from there, and I did enjoy it. It's not my favourite Butler book, but I thought it was pretty good, and it went in directions I didn't expect. You would think that I would have expected it by now, but I didn't expect it still. And the cover of this one, this edition, is beautiful. Then we've got 2 books from my good friend Hannah from Hannah Reads Way Too Much. We are good friends over on Bookstagram and I've known her for several years now. Sometimes it's just hard to believe how long I've known some of my online friends, and she got me 2 books for my birthday: The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie and A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. So The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. I love Agatha Christie. I've read quite a few of her novels now and I intend to read as many of them as I possibly can in my lifespan, and The ABC Murders is another one that's very, very popular, but I haven't read it myself yet. It's a Poirot mystery. Do I know anything else? No, I kind of like to go into her books not knowing as much as possible just to get the full effect of a mystery. They're all murder mysteries. And then The Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. Again, I really can't tell you too much about this book, but it's one of my old friends from the UK's favourite book of all time, and I've read The Glass Menagerie by Tennessee Williams and I really did enjoy that play, so I'm looking forward to reading another play of his and seeing what I think of this one. That is his most famous one, I feel like. Then we have a birthday present from the lovely Victoria at What Victoria Read. I think Victoria is just one of the most supportive people on BookTube. I just see her uplifting so many people and also making sure that everyone's getting some self-care and talking about mental health, and I just really love her channel. I will not miss a single video. And she got me Tilly and the Bookwanderers by Anna James, and this is the first book in the Bookwanderers series. So Tilly is working at her family's bookshop and her favourite characters from her favourite books walk in, and she realises that she can follow them into their book worlds, which sounds like the ultimate dream for a reader. If I could walk into the Raven Cycle, I jolly well would. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one and just enjoying it. I feel like lots of people really like this series. It's like it was written for bookworms around the world. Then Hannah from Lede M, who's my good writer friend. We write together almost every single week. We co-host Gothtober with Tish from Little Wolf, and she's just so lovely and listens to me rant and discuss things that I need to get off my chest so often. She's lovely. And she got me Swamp Thing by Maggie Stiefvater and Morgan Beem for my birthday, and this is a graphic novel that follows these 2 twins who are getting ready to go to university and preparing to go their separate ways, but before they do that they have a summer together, and in this swamp they find a thing, hence why it's called Swamp Thing, and this really transforms them over the course of the summer. I love the Raven Cycle and I want to read more by Maggie Stiefvater, and this graphic novel sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Also the colour palette, the way it's all like green and blue tones with offset with a bit of warm ones. I love it. I love a good colour palette in a graphic novel. Then we have Quiet by Susan Cain. It's the cover even doesn't want to be seen. It's very, very quiet indeed. And this was sent my way by Annie from Annie McNulty, who is a new-ish booktuber. She started sometime last year and I've just been following her channel since she started. She is lovely and she has so many good recommendations, especially for translated fiction and LGBT plus fiction. And yeah, she sent me Quiet, which is a book about introverts and the power of introverts, and Susan Cain has done a TED talk it was quite a few years ago now, and it was very, very famous, all about introverts and the power of introverts and why introversion is not an issue. It's something that can be wielded to help in the business industry and such. And I remember watching that TED talk back when it came out and loving it. I've watched it many times since then, and I'm looking forward to reading her book that is all about this. We have a second-hand gift here which was given to me by my best friend in real life, one of my best friends in real life, and this is the Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. I don't really know too much about this. I'm just familiar with the author's name and want to try something by them, and my best friend was unhauling a lot of books because she doesn't read physical books that much anymore now that she has her Kindle, and that helps her with her disability, so I thought I would just take this one, and she sent a lovely note. I think you can see the top of it for my birthday, which was really heartwarming. Last one from a booktube friend is from Chelsea Zhao, who is lovely. We started to connect more last year and I love her channel. I love Presley that is in some of her videos, and she just reads a lot of the same books or feels a lot of the same way about books, and she sent me Pansies by Alexis Hall, and this is the final book in the series, the Spires series, and it's my favourite new adult series of all time. I now own all 4 of them, which I am very, very excited about, and this is the only one I have not read. Have not read the synopsis either, just because I'm just going to go in and love it. And I found out recently the order of them, because I was reading them as standalones knowing they're connected, but the first book I read was the 3rd one, and then the 2nd one, and then the 1st one, and now I'm going to read the last one. It's chaotic, but it's good. Last present is from my parents. I mostly didn't get books for my birthday because I wanted some yoga equipment and workout equipment, but my parents did get me the March Slipcase trilogy. This one's by John Lewis, Andrew Aydin and Nate Powell, and this one is all about the civil rights movement, and it's got like John Lewis contributing himself, which is why I was very interested in reading this one. I think a few years ago probably, Cara from Wild Book Garden reviewed the first one, and it takes me a few years to get the recommendations and like buy them and read them myself. But yes, 3 graphic novels. They progressively get bigger as the series goes along, and I'm curious and excited to read them. The next section of this haul are the books that I bought for myself. I buy 2 books a month, 1 read and 1 unread, but you'll see in February I actually got 3 because I had a gift card and I had like a few euros left on that gift card, so I decided to get a small 3rd book to top it up and finish it off. So the first book that I got in January, of course, is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, which is the 3rd and final book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series, and I haven't read it yet. Even though I've had it for a whole month now, and I think it has to do with university just being chaotic, and I want to really appreciate this one and zoom through it when I actually have the mind space to fully enjoy it to the max capacity. University is just not letting that happen right now. And also, I don't want the series to end, so I'm kind of delaying it. I have a habit of getting my favourite books and then waiting a few months before reading it. You can see that with Midnight Sun, you'll probably see that with Mr. Impossible when it comes out. That's just how we do. And then the unread one, the other unread one I got for February was My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Now I did talk about in my unhaul getting rid of Lolita and kind of substituting in My Dark Vanessa instead. The reviews of this one have been raving and shining about it and appreciating the book for dealing with the very tough subject matter of a kind of predator and paedophilic relationship, and she was too young for it, but she doesn't see it that way when she looks back on it, and she kind of has to unpack it and work through it. And I've just heard that this is a beautiful way of putting it, or a beautiful way of writing this story, even though it's such a emotional story. And I was waiting for the paperback because this is the hardcover copy, but I didn't want a hardcover, I wanted a paperback, so I finally got this edition that came out with the hardcover copy in paperback, and I didn't expect it to come with deckled edges. I don't think you can see it, but it has deckled edges, and I like deckled edges, so I'm happy. Then we've got the red books that I got. So the first red book that I got is Don't Touch My Hair by Emma Dabiri. This is also known as Twisted in the US, Twisted by Emma Dabiri, and it's all about black hair history, and black hair economy, and just everything around black hair. I read this one on audiobook last year and really, really loved it, so much so that I wanted to add it to my own shelves. And what I didn't know about the audiobook, like the audiobook can't include, I'm not finding any, but this does have photographs in there, and it was just nice to flip through this one and look at all the photographs now that I have the physical copy in my own hands and to add it to my shelf. Then the other red book that I got was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I think I want to do more with collecting the Penguin paperbacks and cloth bounds because I do think they're very aesthetic and I do like a lot of the classics that they stock. So I decided to get Jane Eyre. It's been over a decade since I read Jane Eyre now, which is crazy to say because I'm only 22. I don't like saying things happened a decade ago. Then I feel old even though I like to think that I'm not. And yeah, I read it over a decade ago. It was my first adult classic that I've ever read, so I always remember it fondly. I remember loving it. Of course, I didn't have much to compare it to back then, so it's probably time for me to reread it as well, but I'm very happy to get this edition. And as I said, I got a bonus little small book to fill out my gift card and finish it off, and I got The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and this is like the little black classics. I totally forgot that these come with other short stories in there too, so there are 2 other short stories by her that I haven't read, but I have read The Yellow Wallpaper. Oh my goodness, it's one of my favourite short stories. The first year that I read The Yellow Wallpaper, I read it 3 times in that year. 3 times because I adored it. And then last but not least, I've got 4 review copies to talk about. 2 of them you already know and are familiar with, and then the other 2 were gifted to me in February. So the February ones came from Book Break, and the first one is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, and it just sounds really, really interesting and good. It's about these two siblings, a daughter and a son, and they are born in China to a very poor family, and one of them is destined for greatness, the son of course, and the girl is destined for nothing at all. But when a raid happens, she decides to claim and steal her brother's identity, and it's about whether she can claim this greatness for herself by stealing the identity and trying to take his fate from him. And this one comes out in July 22nd, and it just sounds so interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it. And then the other one is Kololo Hill by Nima Shah, and I went to a virtual book event for this one, and the way she talked about it makes it sound absolutely beautiful. It's set in history in Uganda for the beginning of it, and it's about the fact that in history in Uganda there was a decree passed that said that any Ugandan Asians had to move out of the country. They had to leave everything behind, just take their money and go somewhere else. And it's following this family that leave Uganda and move to England, and it's about being an immigrant, their acceptance there, or what it's like for them as immigrants, but also about the fact that they have to just leave everything behind and leave their whole culture and everything. It's a period of history I do not know much about. I do not know anything about this decree before hearing about this book, so I'm looking forward to learning through reading this one as well as enjoying the story. And then we've got two books I've already mentioned in TBR, so you'll know about them already. The first one is Alessia in Atlantis by Natalie Lane, and this one is a middle grade book that's set underwater in Atlantis, and Alessia kind of gets sucked into the water one day and she's looking for her missing father, and when she enters into the world of Atlantis she discovers that her father used to be an Atlantean. So she's continuing her search underground and in the water, but there is also an emperor with some very, very strict rules that she has to be very careful of dealing with when it comes to looking deeper into searching for her father. And this one is a non-fiction book, which is an account of displacement and diaspora during the Liberian Civil War, which is again something I don't know too much about, so I'm looking forward to learning through hearing about Way Too More's experience. And there you have it. Those are all the books that I've recently bought, received or acquired in the past 2 months. Please let me know in the comments down below what is the latest book that you have received, bought or acquired. I'd love to hear about it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more. And don't you forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!